Hello everybody, my name is Barry Johns and I'd like to welcome you back to another edition of Studio Talk. Today we're going to continue on my demonstrating how efficient the Universal Audio Spark native plugins are. Let's get to it. All right. So this one's going to be a little quicker than the others. If you want to get the full story and the backstory behind all of this, I did these series of videos. I did this one here where I predicted that Universal Audio would go native and do a subscription. Then I got this one here and I explained Universal Audio's Spark plugin subscription program and plan, okay? Then I did this one where I evaluated their 1176 compressor. Then I did this one where I evaluated their API Vision channel, okay, and I demonstrated all of that. Now, all of these so far have been recorded in Pro Tools, which is an unsupported Apple Silicon native DAW. It works in Rosetta, but it's not officially supported yet. Neither are Universal Audio Spark native plugins. They are also not Silicon certified. So what that's doing is I'm showing you worst case scenario, not best case scenario, worst case. Now I'm doing this on a M1 Pro, MacBook Pro, 16-inch MacBook Pro with a 1 terabyte hard drive and 16 gigabyte of RAM. Now, if there's one thing you'll notice on here, pay attention. These plugins really don't use memory at all. They're mostly CPU intensive, okay? And so in today's video, I'm going to go over in a second. We're going to go over to Pro Tools and I'm going to demonstrate to you. And I'll fast forward through this so you see this happening. But I record for 5 minutes, okay? The reason I record at 5 minutes is because if you can get that far in, you can pretty much do just about anything. That's been my experience, okay? This is done inside Pro Tools at a sample rate of 44.1, and then my buffer is set to a 32 sample. For those of you coming from the UAD world and you're not familiar with buffers, maybe you're actually in that boat, okay? Well, 32 buffer is basically not going to give you any audible latency. So in this example, I am tracking through 125 channels within Pro Tools. I'm tracking it all the same time at a buffer of 32. The plugins that I use today, I started out with the Neve preamp / EQ, followed up by an 1176 compressor, followed up by an LA2A. Then we scoot our little butts over and we do the plate reverb, okay? And then finally we finish it up with a little analog tape saturation on there, okay? So I've got all of those plugins on all 125 tracks, and I'm gonna record through all of them at the same time for 5 minutes, okay? Let's get to that right now. Okay, so you've seen that, right? Now, I guarantee you once everything is Silicon native, you're going to see much greater performance out of these. Much greater performance out of these. But we're going to have to wait and see what that's like. But obviously you can tell right now, I'm going to do the math for you here in a second. I'm going to go back over to the computer and I'm going to do the math and I'm going to figure out how many satellite units you would have to own to be able to run all of these programs on 125 channels and track through them all at the same time. How many would you have to own to run all of these plugins? I'll be right back to that in a second. I'm going to scoot back over to the computer, figure that out. Then I'm going to come back over here to you. All right, so here we are looking at an Excel sheet that I created for you guys. All right, so over on the left, you're going to see the 4 plugins that were used in the Pro Tools session. Okay, in those 4 plugins, the information you see here was taken directly from UAD's chart they have on their website indicating what the DSP usage of each one of these plugins is. And you can see here, let's start with the Neve. Neve 1084 preamp and EQ, and that takes up 41% of one DSP chip, okay? So that means I'm going to get 2.4 of these plugins per DSP chip, okay? You got it? 2.4 plugins per DSP chip, okay? Which means I'm going to get 19.5 instances of this plugin for one single satellite unit, okay? Now, you can look at the math on the rest of that. You can kind of just scroll through that. If you want to really look at that, I suggest you just pause it. I'll actually leave a PDF of this page in the description down below, a link to it, so you can pull that up later if you're curious. Okay, so basically what I did is, so of the Neve preamp, you're going to get 19.5 instances. Of the UAD 1176, you're going to get 58.4 instances. The LA2A, 49.4, and the Pure Plate, 54.8. Now, I've given them the benefit of the doubt in this particular illustration because you can't do points in these. It's either 1, 2, 3, or 4 instances, not 4.2 as an example. So this is mainly for illustration purposes only. All right, in the example you saw, I did 125 tracks, okay? So I had 125 1084, 125 1176, 125 LA2A, and 125 Pure Plate, okay? So now if I have an octa-core, it's gonna take me, I'm gonna have to go out and buy 6 octo-core satellite units just to run 128 Neve preamps. I'm going to have to buy 2 octos to run that many 1176s. I got to bump up to 3 to run that many LA2A. And then I got to boom, 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 get down to 2 to do the Pure Plate. A little bit more efficient on that one. So for me to be able to run all 4 of these plugins at the same time and do it on 125 tracks at the same time, that means I need 13 octo satellites, okay? 13 octo satellites. Well, you can see here they're $12.99 each. So you'd have to invest $17,353.83 to be able to do what I just did natively. All right. Whew. That was a pretty impressive test if you think about it. And that is worst case scenario. Remember, I'm at a 32 buffer. I could do a whole lot more of those bad boys if I bumped it up to a higher buffer, right? So that should give you an illustration of just how powerful these are at their core right now. That's with the same computer I have. Obviously, if you have a computer that's not as powerful, you're not going to get as much mileage. If you got a computer that's more powerful, you're going to get more mileage out of it, okay? But I think this gives you a general idea of what you can expect to see, okay? I don't know about you, but I'm not going to go out and spend 17 freaking K on octo satellite cores. Not that I would ever run 125 of each one of those. That's pushing it, right? But regardless, even if I wouldn't buy 2 of them to do that, let alone, yeah, maybe I might do that. But I wouldn't do it to the others, right? And so that's what I was complaining about when I was always complaining about the fact that UAD wasn't finding a way to get more performance out of their units, okay? They should have been able to run way more plugins than they do. They sat on that technology for way too long, and that's where I've had issues with Universal Audio. Other than that, happen to love the company. So if you like the things I talk about on this channel, do me a favor, hit that like button, that subscribe button, and then that notification bell. Really helps me out, helps me grow the channel, and I'd appreciate you'd help a brother out, okay? Now, let's talk about this. Go down to the comment section. Go down and suck some comments, or go down and fill out some comments. How about doing that? And tell me what you think. Tell me what your experiences are. Tell me if you think I'm a raving lunatic and idiot and I need to get off of YouTube. That's fine. You can tell me that too. I don't want you to, but you can if you have to, okay? So until then, whatever it is you do, I want you to have a great day. Bye-bye.